Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Thank you for tuning in to Locker Talk, where you hear about NFL stars until tomorrow today. I'm your host, Barry Barnes, founder and CEO of Locker-Port.com. And you guys, please go to the site. Go to the site where you'll see some exclusive content on the NFL that you will not see anywhere, guaranteed. Follow me on all of my social handles on Twitter at Locker_Report. On Instagram, Locker Report 100, all small caps, and also Locker Talk 100 on Instagram as well, all small caps. You can follow me on Facebook at LockerReport.com and also Locker Talk Podcast. That's on Facebook. Now, all right. So what's going on, folks? Y'all haven't subscribed yet?
What in the Matrix hell?
It's going on, yes. You just heard LeBron. What is going on? Listen, go to YouTube right now. Subscribe to the channel right now where you see some good content on the NFL that like I said, I promise you that you will not see anywhere or hear anywhere else. Guaranteed, I promise you. Okay, folks, just want to give you some heads up with Locker Talk Podcast. Everything is going very well. You know, this has been a great off season for evaluating talent. Really excited to see what's going to happen for the 2022 NFL campaign. It's going to be a great one. But I just want to give you guys a little heads up. There's going to be a little bit of a change here at LockerReport.com and also on Locker Talk Podcast. Yes, we're still going to focus on NFL players. But instead of just searching or researching a group, we're going to follow this group. All undrafted players. Yes, all undrafted players who are in the NFL. That's what this new approach that we're going to go to with Locker Talk, following nothing but undrafted players. We're going to still do our evaluations on players, talking about the outlist. The outlist stands for overlooked unknown talents. We're going to still have our players that we're going to always evaluate, getting ready for the season that is coming up. But we're also going to focus during the season on undrafted players' performances throughout the week. Put out reports on what these players are doing so that you guys who are trying to get to the NFL, that feel as though that if you did not get drafted, that it's the end of the world. That's not the truth. Right now, currently in the NFL, it's actually 30% made up of undrafted players in the NFL. Now, it kind of dropped down at first for a moment there. It was a little bit more undrafted players in the NFL, but right now it's at 30%. However, it doesn't matter. There are players that's out there that's still making things happen. And we're going to talk about some of these players right now as I'm going to give you guys the top 10 undrafted players for the 2021 NFL season. So we're going to get right to it, talking about some good players in the NFL that you probably didn't even realize that they were undrafted players. And then we're going to jump right into it now. I'm gonna start off giving some love to the offensive line. You know, the offensive linemen, these guys really don't get a lot of one-on-one highlights. Not oftentimes you see them on Sports Center, the top plays and stuff like that. But we're gonna start this thing off with an offensive lineman, straight with the New England Patriots center, David Andrews. David Andrews is clearly one of the better offensive linemen that's in the NFL right now. I tell you, this young man is really doing it ever since he stepped on the NFL field all the way back to 2015, coming from out of Georgia, where the Patriots assigned him as an undrafted free agent. Now, this is the part that is really amazing about him. And since he took the field, he was able to start every game he played in except for 3. He actually started in 89 games, and out of those 89 games, out of the 89 games that he played in, 86 of those games, he was the starter. Fantastic start to his NFL career. He really has done a lot of good stuff there. Ever since getting there, he became a champion, had the opportunity to play under center with the great Tom Brady. So he definitely experienced some winning early, and now is one of the leaders of that very team. Last season, it was something that's very remarkable. Out of all the games he played, all 17 games, the first time the NFL had 17 regular season games, he played in every last game. The cool part is that he played in 99% of the offensive snaps, totaled up to 1,091 plays. And out of those 1,091 plays, he only got caught for holding only two times. Over 1,000 snaps, when you got defensive ends and you got defensive tackles, all kind of speed coming at, he got to make sure that he take care of the then rookie quarterback, Mac Jones. He had to make sure that he helped him with the right reads on the field, make sure that he was protected, and then had to deal with those Neanderthals. Those guys are so strong and powerful, coming up the middle, trying to get to his quarterback. He had to do all of that, and out of all those snaps, only 2 holding penalties. That is outstanding. Solid season in 2021 with David Andrews, one of the league's undrafted players that came from the University of Georgia. Now we're going to get to another player. Now, we look at special teams. A lot of special team players don't get a lot of love, and we know that a lot of kickers normally are undrafted. But there's one undrafted player that we heard me talk about many times, and we talked about Johnny Heckler, punter from then the former Los Angeles Rams, but now he's a member of the Carolina Panthers. Ever since he came into the NFL, he has been brilliant. When he signed with the Rams in 2012, he pretty much became an instant success. One of the best punters, probably the best punter in the league, where he was a 4-time Pro Bowler, a 4-time All-Pro punter, and he was just always being that weapon for the Rams as a weapon to help win the battle with field positioning. He was, a mighty titan for the Rams during his time while he was there. Now, last season, during the regular season, it was not his best season. He pretty much averaged 44.2 yards per attempt, and his longest punt was 59 yards. Now, that's not Johnny Heckler's style. He normally would at least have a 70-yarder somehow. But last year, he didn't have it. But he nailed his longest at 59 yards. However, when the postseason came, out of those 4 postseason games, he was fantastic. Out of 16 attempts, everybody, 9 of those landed inside the 20-yard line. That helped the Rams defense pin their ears back, attack every quarterback they had to get on the field against, help the defense pin the teams back deep, got those 3 and outs, so the offense can actually have good field positioning. The Rams is blessed to have a weapon just like that during that playoff run to help these guys win a Super Bowl. He was brilliant in that game. This postseason. Just as good as he was when the last time when the Rams actually went to the Super Bowl and they played the Patriots. In that game, he had 9 punts and 5 of those landed inside the 5-yard line. Inside the 10-yard line. He was brilliant in that matchup, and he has continued with that great play of special teams. Now he's no longer around, but right now he's with the Carolina Panthers. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he's going to become a big part of that piece with Carolina, although they're rebuilding, but they don't have to worry about rebuilding on the special teams because they already nailed it with the punter. Now, let's get into some defensive players, more defensive players. Cornerback Adrian Phillips for the New England Patriots. You notice the New England Patriots always find talent. That scouting process is great. Seeing these guys in action many times is breathtaking to see how serious these guys take that. Phillips was with the Los Angeles Chargers at the start of his NFL career. And the Patriots knew coming into 2020 that they had to improve that secondary. So they went out, got Phillips. Phillips actually had himself a solid start with the Patriots in 2020 and 2021. He took his game to another level. He actually had the highest career of interceptions in one season with 4 and actually scored a touchdown, his first career touchdown off one of those interceptions. But his big game that he was known that he stepped up in when he went up against his former team, the Los Angeles Chargers, in Week 8. In that contest, he had 2 picks. That was the most that he had in a single game. Adrian Phillips did his thing for the Patriots. Looking forward to seeing what he's going to do. Continuous with the Patriots. This young man definitely going to be one of those up-and-coming best cornerbacks in the league. Looking forward to seeing what he's going to do this year. It's going to be great to see him up there with Malcolm Butler, another undrafted player who's going back home. And we all know about Butler with his historic Super Bowl interception. You know about Butler, so he's going to team up with that undrafted free agent there. Now, this other cornerback you hear me talk about many times, and I'm talking about Kenny Moore II for the Indianapolis Colts. He had himself a solid season this year as well. Actually had the most tackles in a single season, the most he had in his whole career. He actually had 102 tackles, and 82 of those were solo tackles. 6 of them was for loss. He also had a sack, and he also forced a fumble. Kenny Moore has shown during the course of his career that he is definitely a ball hawk. This past season, he totaled his high in 4 interceptions, total to what he had the previous year in 2020. 4 interceptions, and he also had 13 pass defenses. The best thing about his year was that he finally cracked the mold, finally became a Pro Bowler. Something that has been eluding him for the past couple of years. But he finally became a Pro Bowler. But that was not his best highlight of the 2021 season, as he was nominated as the coach for the Walter Payton's Man of the Year award. Pretty much the award that's pretty much, being recognized through the league as probably the most prestigious award, even probably more than the MVP. But he was nominated as the Man of the Year, representing the Indianapolis Colts. He does a lot for his community with the children in the local area in Indianapolis. Really, really great young man. And I'm looking forward to seeing him continue with great strides in the NFL. He is definitely doing his thing. Now some linebackers. Then we're going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles with their linebacker, T.J. Edwards. T.J. Edwards was on fire all last season. I mean, let's look at him. This guy is just relentless, always around the ball, always making sure that he's in on the play, non-stop, high energy, high motor, solid season. Definitely had his best season as a pro in the NFL when he had registered 130 tackles. Definitely did his thing there for the Eagles. 130 tackles, including the sack. He also had 5 stops for losses and 2 quarterback hits. He pretty much had his best games in Week 15 and Week 16. In Week 15 against the New York Giants, he had 16 tackles. And in Week 16, he had 14 tackles against the Washington Commanders. He also, in consecutive seasons, had interceptions. He had an interception in 2020, and he also had another interception this past season. So Edwards definitely one of those players, undrafted players, that is trending up to be one of the good ones in the league. And right next to him was his teammate, Alex Singleton. Alex Singleton, now, he had a solid career in the Canadian League. I mean, he was really solid. He actually had his first taste of the NFL when he signed with the Seattle Seahawks, but he didn't make it with the team. He got released, but he did get to the Canadian League where he actually won a Grey Cup. The Grey Cup champion, became an All-Star, and then he finally got his opportunity to get to the NFL. He's been with the Philadelphia Eagles for the past 3 seasons, but last year was his best year as a pro, as he accumulated 138 tackles, including 4 for losses. He actually finished 11th in the league in that category of tackles. That was a strong showing, as he showed the Eagles that he definitely can be a player in the NFL. He also had 4 passes defended and an interception that he actually took it to the house for a touchdown. That was his second pick 6 of his career. Now, he's a free agent. Don't know if the Eagles going to bring him back or not. But with the type of season that he had in 2021, someone's going to bring him in. And I'm looking forward to seeing what this young man's going to do. Look at him. He's so fired up. Whole lot of energy. He's going to bring a lot of passion, a lot of hard work to whatever team he goes on or sign with during this offseason, getting ready for the 2022 season. Someone's going to have a gold mine in this young man. Definitely looking forward to it. Now, some more offensive players. Now, we are familiar with this guy right here. Boom. Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley has been a stud ever since he came from SMU when he signed with the Dallas Cowboys in 2012. He spent time with the Dallas Cowboys for 7 years, and the past 3 seasons he was with the Buffalo Bills, and he really showed how special he is. He is the model of consistency. He was that threat that Josh Allen had went to give him that confidence that Josh Allen needed until Josh Allen became who he is. Cole Beasley has became that security blanket for Allen and the Bills, and it really showed. This year, he had this past season, he had the most targets of his career of 112, and he also hauled in the most receptions of his career with 82. Same amount of catches that he had in 2020. He finished the season with at the 20th place in the NFL with 693 receiving yards and a touchdown. At the age of 32, Beasley still have a lot left in the tank. Depending on where he lands, he's definitely going to be someone special. He definitely comes from that mold, from the Wes Walkers of the world, the Julie Elements of the world, the small receivers that can get to those spots to be a big help for those teams and make those big plays. You know, we got a Scotty Miller that's down with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's fitting that mold. Just got to stay a little more healthy. However, Cole Beasley is definitely a model of consistency. Looking forward to seeing where he's going to be and how he's going to perform in 2022 season. Now, Jacoby Myers, wide receiver for the New England Patriots. He just keeps staying in New England. No, it just seemed like that. Well, Myers definitely came in on the process with the New England Patriots and definitely had quickly paid his dues with that team because he definitely did his thing with the Patriots last season. Now, ever since he had stepped on the field in the NFL in 2019, each year he actually, believe it or not, had increased his productivity where he was actually targeted at least 40 times more than the previous year. It just kept going to scales because he was shown to Bill Belichick, he was shown to Josh Daniels, then the offensive coordinator who is now the head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. Man, I tell you, he has been a stud. Each year he's been targeted more and more. This year he actually was targeted 126 times and caught 83 of those passes for 866 yards, allowing him to finish 19th overall in the NFL each year, an average of more than 40 targets each time. And you can see here, this is why he's getting these targets, why the balls keep going to him. I think that's going to continue. I'm not going to say it's going to be 40 attempts every year leading up there. He probably get like 300 attempts in the season. It's not going to be like that. But however, knowing that he's being targeted that much, you definitely see that he is definitely becoming that model of consistency. But last year it was really funny because he's been catching the ball so much, I thought for sure that he already had a couple of touchdowns. Nope. 2021 was the first time he crossed the goal line. He actually crossed the goal line twice in 2021. You know, this is something that's going to be continuous for this young man, this free agent talent that came from North Carolina State. Looking forward to seeing what he's going to continue to do in the NFL. Is nothing but higher heights for this young man. Definitely excited about that. Now through the ground, James Robinson, running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I know you probably said Jacksonville Jaguars, this team is not doing that well. You know, they don't really have nobody to talk about. But they have this young man right here they can talk about. He's going to be a stud. He is showing already that he can be that all-purpose back. He showed great hands, great speed, can catch out the backfield, run the route tree pretty good. He missed 3 games last year. However, he is showing that he can be that bell cow for the Jacksonville Jaguars for many years to come. He showed it last year as he finished with 767 yards off 164 carries and 8 touchdowns. He also was targeted 46 times and caught 31 of those passes for 222 yards. This young man has exploded from Butler University, came in the NFL. Storm came last year in 2020, showed that he belonged in this league, and he's been proving it, and he proved it last year. Like the first year, in 2020, he actually came in, throwing it to the league off. The league adjusted to him in 2021. Now we're going to see how he's going to adjust to the league in 2022. I think Jacksonville is slowly putting some pieces down there where they can become more of a respectable franchise, and he's going to be a centerpiece for this team. Now, of course, we cannot leave the number 1 undrafted free agent in the NFL in 2021, and everyone who knows some good football is not surprised that when you mention this young man's name, and Austin Ekeler for the Los Angeles Chargers. Austin has been phenomenal ever since he came into the league. Many of you guys probably thought he was a drafted player because he's just that good. You probably said to yourself, who in the world is going to overlook this guy? Did this guy get drafted high? Nope, not at all. He didn't get drafted at all. That's why he's on this list. He is becoming one of the league's best ball carriers. He is definitely that type of player that is doing some great things. The way how he performs on the field, it looks as if he came from a Power 5 program. No, he did not. He came from Western State. He's a standout there, and he has shown immediately that he has been a standout in the NFL. He was close to having his first 1,000 rushing season last year. However, he did have a career best in total yards from scrimmage with 1,558 total yards. He carried the ball 206 times for 911 yards and had 12 touchdowns. On the receiver side, he was targeted 94 times and caught 70 of those passes. Man, he was targeted more than a lot of receivers. But yeah, anyway, he was targeted 94 times, caught 70 of those passes for 647 yards and 8 touchdowns. Man, this young man had 20 touchdowns. That tied him with number 1 with Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Indianapolis Colts. He had a strong year, showing that he belonged. And I'm telling you, the way how the AFC West is, oh my goodness, you've been following what was going on with all these trades, all these signings. Clearly, the best division in all of the NFL, and he's going to be a part of that magnificent duel of the AFC West for 2022. The Chargers going to need him. He's going to be there ready to go. I know he's excited. I know he's ready, and I know he's fired up. And it's going to be a great season with 2022. So, folks, that's what we have. The best undrafted players in the NFL for the 2021 season. Looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in 2022. Looking forward to seeing who's going to get that phone call right after the draft. In my opinion, the draft begins right after the last player. When Mr. Irrelevant is actually called. When these teams start calling up these players that they've been looking at, that did not get drafted, these are going to be the guys to watch out for. And I cannot wait to talk about the undrafted players to look forward to in 2022. And also at the same time, looking forward to seeing what they're going to do on a weekly basis in the NFL as we track them out through all the offseason up to training camp. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. I'm Barry Bonds, founder and CEO of LockerDashboard.com. And you guys, please go to the site where you'll see some good content on the NFL that you will not see anywhere else. Follow me on all my social handles on Twitter at Locker_report. On Instagram, LockerReport100, all small caps, and also Locker Talk 100, all small caps on Instagram. On Facebook, LockerReport.com, and also check me out on a Locker Talk podcast. That's on Facebook now. Y'all guys should know by now. Go to YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. It's not that hard. Pull the computer out. Just start typing in. You're going to find it and get on there and make sure you guys subscribe. And if you don't subscribe, I know where you are. I will come after you. I will find you. Come on. Just talk some football in ways that you never had heard football before. Promise you, you guys will not be disappointed. So here we go, guys. Draft is coming up. We got some more players to talk about, evaluation to look out for. Make sure y'all stay locked in. Everybody, let's get it. Let's go.